A graphic presentation of the Site Development Program is referred to as Site Development Plan. Its main function is to show the school site in its present status and the current program period. Preparing the site development plan is thus an exercise in the layout of infrastructure based on the physical requirements established in the site development program. Here are the factors to be considered in developing a school site. The first one is the principles in the preparation of the site development plan that all physical structures with similar functions shall be grouped together. The grouping of these structures is in accordance with the most favorable options for grounds utilization, which creates functional zones and sets the basic pattern for physical development. In effect, the school site is subdivided, allocating well-defined portions for specific purposes. The next one is the layout of the buildings and other structures, which are the most expensive physical facilities in the school. It is critical in preparing the site development plan. School buildings shall be oriented in accordance with the sun path or the east-west course of the sun during the day. Variations in the sun path on the certain seasons of the year are negligible. To prevent the direct entry of sunlight into the instructional spaces, buildings shall be laid out along the east-west axis so that the windows have a north-south exposure. The third one is the arrangement of buildings. Buildings shall be arranged to facilitate cross-ventilation by exposing the window sides to the direction of prevailing breezes, which is generally northeast-southeast. However, the east-west orientation is sufficient inasmuch as it allows adequate cross-ventilation. The next one is site limitations. When there are site limitations, such as the unfavorable area or shape of the site, prevent the proper solar orientation of buildings, economical alternatives shall be resorted to. For example, trees near the building are effective for minimizing the direct entry of sunlight into the instructional spaces. The next one is acoustic barriers. Plant tree and shrub barriers between building and street if feasible. Trees and shrubs between the buildings and street will serve as acoustic barriers. Also, the sun path. The sun path between June 21 and December 21, especially at 12 o'clock noon, must be noted as lower latitude sites get more sun on the north side on June 21. The next one is local wind patterns, cross ventilation. If available, request from Pag-asa or any agency specific monthly rose wind diagram or monthly wind patterns for a particular site or region. The next one is sunscreens, vertical louvers, and green walls. It may be necessary to design temporary or permanent sunshade elements such as planted trees, sunscreens, vertical louvers, and green walls to prevent solar heat gain. Also, the distances between buildings. The distances between buildings shall be such that ventilation is not obstructed and natural illumination is not impeded, and sound does not carry into nearby buildings. The minimum distance between buildings laid outside is 8 meters. And the last one is the recommended setback and the provision for open space. The recommended setback of the school from the street line is 5 meters to sufficiently reduce intrusive sound, and there should be provision for open space in each school with an area big enough to hold the total population of the school. This shall serve as temporary evacuation site in cases of emergencies that would require the students to evacuate their classrooms, such as fires and earthquake events. Site Development Planning. The purpose of site development planning is to anticipate the future needs and development of a school in terms of physical facilities and to contribute towards conducive teaching-learning environment. The aim of site development planning for any school is to contribute toward the creation of a proper teaching-learning environment. The site development plan shall be regarded as a flexible framework which allows modifications dictated by changing situations. However, modifications shall adhere as much as possible to the basic pattern of development. The plan shall be drawn on a tracing paper which indicates the technical descriptions of bearings of the property line, distances between corners, and boundaries of the lot. It must also show the direction of the north, relative position of existing features in the site, relative position and description of existing building and structures, hazardous areas and contour lines if possible. And at the bottom of the plan is a title block bearing the following informations. First, the name and address of the school. Second, the official who prepared the plan. Third, the names and signatures of recommending approval. And lastly, the date of preparation. We also have the external areas in the school. First, we have the agricultural area. The laboratory for elementary agriculture, or what is traditionally known as the school garden, shall be allocated an area based on a minimum standard of 40 square meters of space per pupil. The total area to include individual and communal plots, footpaths between plots, and spaces for a garden house and a plant nursery. Second, the playground area. The allocation of external space for playgrounds which are needed for physical education activities may be determined on the basis of a minimum standard of 6 square meters of space per pupil or student. The third one is the circulation area. The circulation areas consist of the main walk, the footpaths, and the driveway, which are intended to facilitate movement within the school site. And the last one is the athletic field. The allocation of external space for the athletic field shall allow adequate provision for the laying out of the basic components, among others. School site beautification. It is considered that the aesthetic effect of improved grounds adds much to the socializing value of school premises, exerts influence upon the community, and is the first feature to be noted by visitors. The first thing to be noted is the school gate. A school shall have a main entrance gate and a service gate. Both shall swing inside the direction of the school property. The service gate shall be for entrance and exit for pupils or students and school personnel use. The gate shall be functional, and the functional gate is sturdy and in good condition and can be locked effectively. The next one is the school fence. A good strong fence shall be built around a school site to secure the school against stray animals and against squatters. If a permanent or semi-permanent fence cannot be constructed around the whole site, Madre de Cacao, ipil-ipil trees, and the like may be planted on all sides except the front to serve as a temporary fence. The third one is the flagpole. The display of the Philippine national flag is a requirement for all schools. It shall occupy a prominent place in front of the main building in the assembly area. As a general rule, The top of the pole shall be higher than the building to give the national flag due prominence. The fourth one is the signboard. The purpose of a signboard is to identify the name and location of the school. It shall be displayed prominently on the facade or in front of the main building. And lastly, the planting plan. Beautifying the school site with ornamental plants requires the prior preparation of a planting plan. The plan shall provide a master guide or pattern for the planting to be done. Thank you everyone for watching my video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates.